What's good, y'all? I hope everybody's all right. I want you to real quick just turn to your neighbor before I even get started and say to the folks who ain't here, should stay. To this day. Before we get started, can we just all bow our heads real quick, if you don't mind? And close your eyes if you feel so inclined. Let us recognize who is in this room. Not just those who are in the place, but those who occupy the space. Let us recognize those whose dreams were this moment for us all to gather together. May we not betray their legacy. May we not betray their labor. May the words that come burn the myth of mediocrity implanted in us by those lesser than us. May we see this gathering as sacred because we are sacred. May we see the sacred in us and our babies. Amen. All right, so I got a lot of things I want to share. This slide right here literally was put together as Dr. Ron Walker spoke because I felt so inspired by him, and I'm always inspired by his presence. So these are just some quick things for us to just keep in mind as a backdrop of our conversation before we leap into the cause for our meeting today. The first is to recognize that we sit within a structure and system of education that our brother so brilliantly explained is about the confronting of the legacy of slavery in the classroom. And given that that's the case, we have to always understand these roles that we hold that are sitting on the side of the slide. The one is that we all hold as educators a role identity. Everybody say role identity. That's not who we truly are. That is a projection of a system on who they think we should be when we work with our children. So as we go to teach, we have to consistently be battling against the role identity that is given to us by those who have no feelings or desires of good for us. Every time I walk into a classroom, I have to remind myself of who I am and whose I am, because I have to know that somebody is implanting and inscribing a role into who I should be that has to depart from. If you're not intentional about attacking the role somebody placed you on, and you just walk around all apathetic like it ain't there, you will become it unbeknownst to you. So the first step is to say, I went to BMEC, I was with black educators, I wanted to teach, I wanted to do well, I heard Ron Walker, I heard Glory Lasson Billings, my heart and soul is all filled up. I go back to my classroom and say, this is who you are. And if you don't fight that back, you inherit that role. The second is the idea that we have a core identity. And I wasn't going to go here today, but a core identity is our spiritual self. It's the self that when we began this talk and I said, can we share a few words? Not a soul in here said, I ain't doing that. We intrinsically know to tap into our spiritual self because it's part of our Afrocentric stuff. And once we know that in spaces like these, then we must bring that energy to the classrooms where we occupy. So I have to fight back the role identity, and I have to always go back to my core self, my spiritual self. Then I have to counter the plantation pedagogies.
Yeah. Wow.
That are a function of the role identities they give you. Right. The classroom in contemporary America ain't nothing but a contemporary plantation. The students are placed in that space to be workers. You are put in that place to be a warden. And if you fight that thing, you without tapping into your core identity, you're going to lose. Yeah. You got to start there. You ain't going to win. How you going to win when you ain't right within? But the rightness within, right? There's a function of tapping into that spiritual self. So if you don't fight the core identity, you enact the plantation pedagogy. And when you enact a plantation pedagogy, you relegate your spiritual self to be warden and overseer in the contemporary slave quarters that is the classroom. Then the recognition of BMEC behavior, which is that our young folks are not inherently bad, but they're responding to oppression. When a peacock is attacked, it raises its plumes. It makes itself larger than it actually is. For what purpose? To be able to scare off the person who is attacking it. Its inherent self is not to be violent, but its first line of protection is to scare you off. So if you get scared off by a young person, are y'all with me? It's a lot of bars before we start, but you got to get this done first. So if you're scared off by the peacocks raising up its plumes and start enacting a behavior of policing it, you can never get to a point where that person learns anything from you. And then lastly, Pentecostalism. And I know there are folks of a variation of paths to the divine that are in here. I am unconcerned about your path to the divine as long as you recognize that the divine exists.
Yeah.
So when we talk about a Pentecostal pedagogy, it is a function of a recognition that there is a visceral pedagogical approach rooted in the Pentecostal black church that is adopted and can be adopted by everybody in spite of their path to the divine. But it is the only model that we have in the contemporary to see how to get it done. Are y'all with me?
Yeah.
Because the other pathways we have has been put in place by folks who don't care for us to actually learn anything in schools.
Yeah.
And that is all thanks to Brother Raul. Now let's get into our talk. Our theme for today, you might hit a little bit more than 40 Sharif, is to go beyond unshackling and towards escape velocity. My sub-theme is on projections and dreams in education. And I need you to follow me when I ask you what time is it. I want you to say it's freedom time. What time is it?
It's freedom.
What time is it?
It's freedom.
I'm going to ask you what season it is. I want you to say it's a academic season. What season is it? What season is it? What time is it? What time is it? What season is it? We all know what a academic season is, don't we? Full self, unapologetic, raw, expressive, beautiful in our blackness in its varied forms, and concurrently, the sharpest tool in the shed. The smartest individual in the room. Not to say that it's an ego-driven thing, but it's a God-given genius that I hold. And because I hold that genius, I have to give it to you in the most raw and expressive ways possible. So what time is it? What time is it? What season is it? Once that's understood, now we have to understand the concept of time. The Eurocentric concept of time is situated in recognizing the I and the me first. And our way of looking at things is a universal time period. Somebody said to me, Dr. Emdin, what are you going to talk about at Coastbot this year? I said, I don't know. Whatever it is, I didn't finish last year. So that doesn't make any sense. It should be a new year, a new topic. That's because you're functioning, recognizing that each year, time ends and started again. In a divine timing, the lecture continues. Y'all with me? Sometimes if there's some folks a reminder of what they forgot from last year, then you got to give them a little something else to take them on the next year. So our time is not an I and me time. That's why I began with saying, what time is it? And I asked to me, it's freedom time. Because like, well, time is it? It's a 12:10 in the afternoon. Nah, that's what your watch told you. What the divine tells us is that it's a state of time. Huh? A season of being. A state of collective consciousness that we're embedded in. And why that's important, particularly when we talk about dreams and dream keepers and dream deferred, is because dreams show up in different seasons, and folks have been showing us for a very long time what we don't ascribe to, which is that they believe in their dreams. They dream up a thing, even when the conditions of the time say that their plans are not working out. They dream loud, they dream proud, they dream strategic. And we've been conditioned to believe that we must respond to their dreams. A racademic identity, a racademic positioning is when it exists in an unapologetic present state, despite the fact that the current educational state does not want us to show up in that way. Y'all with me? So when we say it's a racademic season, we're professing into the universe. What is not yet in spite of the conditions that are. And why it's important for us to situate this and where we are right now is because our enemies have been dreaming out loud, right in your face, playing in your face. Telling you don't dream, don't be unapologetic, take on a role identity, and meanwhile they got this as the agenda. This ain't Coast Block been in existence longer than America First. BMEC has been in existence before America First. Y'all know what this America First thing is? Do y'all know? Oh, yeah. In 2020, 3 billionaires in Texas said, you know what, Trump lost or losing. So we're going to get together and form a coalition of a radical dream of what we want this country to look like. And after they dreamed and they unshackled from the norms of the time, they decided to construct an organization. And that organization took all the folks in Trump's first presidency and invited them in, and they had a whole club. They kicked it, they dreamed together, and then they enacted that dream to create a policy initiative that is now in place in 2025. I just want y'all to understand. While we rob ourselves of the capacity to show up in our academic season, your enemy is constructing a dream, creating a plan, infiltrating the plan, and it's coming to fruition right now. America First is chomping at their bit to walk in on January 5th. Unapologetic, while we stay here playing defense. And I want you, this is not me making this up. This is on the website. It's online right now. This is the logo and imagery that undergirds America First. Deconstruct that with me as we talk about educating boys of color. That is a nuclear white family that looks across the horizon and sees no faces, but only what they can conquer. That wraps themselves in the American flag, and by wrapping themselves in that, have given themselves all the power, dominion, and authority they can muster over what they're going to go and conquer. If there are faces in the horizon, they don't see them. If there are plans that you've constructed in seas beyond, it doesn't exist. All they know is we want to place ourselves first at the expense of everybody else, dream it out loud, and make it happen. Playing in your face while you scared to dream. This is also accompanied. Now, I want you to understand this. Project 2025 is problematic. America First is more problematic. Why? Because half of y'all said, I don't know what that is. But they the ones who are sitting next to old boy now. And Project 2025 is a WMD, a weapon of mass distraction. For you to be going back and forth with these folks talking about we don't want boys to play girls' sports. And you, black man, are agreeing with the last piece of the agenda that ain't even the agenda at all. So caught up in that philosophy and development, there's the fact for that phenomenon that you're letting the America First gotta go to you. Folks will say to you in your face when you talk DEI and inclusivity and cultural relevance that I am an ally and I am a co-conspirator. But when they closed the doors of that voting booth, they wrapped themselves in that flag and chose to actualize their dreams. Ain't no allies, they liars. Ain't no co-conspirators, they're infiltrators. They will sit with you at the DEI meeting and vote Republican in the booth. They will have a class right next to yours and say how much they love these babies. And will construct policies that undermine your existence. And they have constructed a presidential transition project while Biden was in office, which speaks to the extent to which these folks believe in their dreams. This is on the cabinet as the Secretary of Defense. All he's done is work for Fox News once and a long time ago be in the National Guard for a few months. This is in charge of Medicaid and Medicare. Put in political place off the back of a black woman. She allowed him to have his platform, and then once he got the platform, decided in the metaphorical voting booth to vote against her or our interest, who's been told, who's been professed to say a million times over all sorts of lies and falsehoods, who had the audacity to dream to be in office in a state they can't even live in, who stumbled and failed himself into a cabinet office in the next presidency. Talk about the audacity of dreams. This is your Secretary of Education. There are sexual innuendos here. There is spectacle in her
Just
identity.
remember, like you told me when I was a little girl, this is gonna hurt me a lot worse than it hurts you.
Get her!
What was not cool? The secretary, I'm company over there. I'm like, very scared.
They not like us.
This is the world ranked #1 World Dance Sport Federation breakdancing champion of the world. That made it to the Olympics. And I want you to deconstruct Rachel Gunn in a way that we don't usually.
Yeah.
I want you to think about the audacity of mediocre dreams. I want you to think about somebody who says, I can break dance because I've seen it. Somebody who says, I have a PhD, I ain't lying. I have a PhD in breakdancing. I want you to think about the PhDs in education running this damn system and what's going on. Who use institutional credibility to justify their enactment of their wildest dreams that go support the people who vetted this woman all the way along and said, you number one. My point is, y'all, if white mediocrity could operate in the belief in radical possibility, in saying I don't have to have a credential to be there, because I wrap myself in that flag, I belong there. How sick is it that we sit here playing defense rather than dreaming of our own? Anytime they come up with something stupid, we respond. Every time they come up with another stupid policy thing, we get mad. Over and over again, we operate in projections of their dreams that were placed on our side and to incarcerate us, and they, behind the scenes, are doing what they want to do. Stop, let the suckers play in the face.
Right.
A couple years ago, I talked about Draco-mania. Y'all remember that one? How you gonna look crazy for stepping out your comfort zone? Don't it seem more present now than ever before? And the cure to Draco-mania in the eye of the oppressor is your distraction from complicity, but most importantly, that concept of escape velocity. So I want to talk to you today about dreaming. When was the last time you had a radical dream? Not a dream that's based on the thing that you're in, where it's just a function of me responding to that thing. I was talking about a dream of yourself of what it could be like. Are y'all with me? When you dream, or dream scientifically, it's based on all the things in your environment that you consumed previous to your moment of rest.
Right.
It's not necessarily a reflection of your imagination. It's a reflection of the situation that you're embedded in.
Right.
So that's when a baby goes and watches a nightmare movie or Freddy Krueger or whatever else it is that they're watching now at 12 o'clock and they go to bed. They have a dream, but the dream is them in the movie, in the environment.
Right.
Y'all with me?
Yeah.
But if you're locked into the environment and then you're like dreams, then your dream is literally just a projection of the fascination of your oppressor. I don't know if y'all, I need somebody to stay with me. Sometimes your dreams are colonized and you don't even know it. I go to school with some babies, I say, yo, if I gave y'all $1,000, what would you do with it right now? They said, I just want to buy another pair of sneakers.
Yeah.
I said, no, dream bigger. 3 pairs of sneakers. It's not because nothing was wrong with those babies, but they live in an environment where they're so conditioned to projections of the imaginations of their oppressor that even their dreams have been colonized. My brothers and sisters, we're in a season now where we cannot afford to not dream. And if the dream ain't radical, it ain't a dream at all. Sometimes we have to have a dream to just burn it down. Sometimes we have to have a dream say, I am in this institution and my primary role is to make you so disgusted with yourself that you either A, get rid of me or do it different.
Right.
If your dreams are not radical, they're not dreams at all. And radicality is not a, I don't know how to, I can't, sis. You know why it's hard? Because there's resistance in the room. There it is.
Wow.
When I see us,
Great to see.
I see us in color. Atop your heads right now, I see shades of deep indigo blue.
See, sir.
And across the same landscape is auras of green. Look, don't be jealous of me. Don't think that you deserve a platform you ain't earned yet. Don't be mad because he back another year.
Next year too.
That you Tiffany, come up here. Yeah, I wasn't going to do this, but I got to do this. Listen, if we going to dream, we can't dream our oppressor's dream.
That's right.
And our oppressor's dream is the one that says it's only got to be one.
Yeah.
But everybody got to understand it. You got to play your position. If you can't play your position, we don't get nowhere. I know you could be. When I tell y'all I see the green, I don't know if sometimes the burden of knowing is heavy to carry. Because the people can't see you. And it hurts.
Yeah.
I don't want to be here all the time.
Right.
But I know I'm charged to. And if you think that you deserve something that you haven't earned yet or something you've not been called to yet, you undermine the whole idea of us talking about a radical dream.
Say that.
I had a convo with my brother a few minutes ago, and I'm going over my slides. This wasn't the slides we talked about. I'm sorry, bro. So here. And as we talked, you know, he said to me, he said, Chris, first of all, I said a couple things. First, I seen him across the street. He said, Chris, let me carry your bag. I said, carry my bag? What the fuck nigga say? It's like, he's my brother. And my brother carried my bag.
Right.
And then we got here, and we going back and forth. And he said, you know, he said something to the extent of, you know, he would bust a mind, he split star. I don't know if y'all get it. Because in this season and in this moment, I gotta be Buster to give you what I've been called to give you.
Right.
There will be moments where I gotta play split star.
Right.
Because it's his Buster moment.
Uh-huh.
But if I fail to recognize that I have to do what I have to do in the season I have to do, sometimes somebody in here needs to learn to go lead.
Right.
Sometimes you're in the place and you're working for somebody, you're supporting somebody, and your calling is to lead. And you know that because the Spirit is saying, go lead. But sometimes you're called to serve. A moment of servitude where the Spirit says to you, support your brother. Support your sister. This ain't your food to lead. Go be a janitor. And you can try to lead something when you're called to serve something. When the whole thing breaks down, the blood of your ancestors is on you. You can't understand what I'm trying to say to you because the aura is green. And you've got to find a way to deconstruct why that green aura is. You've got to kill the white supremacy in your spirit, brother. You got a little bit of Trump in you. You want everybody to laud you when you ain't never lauded nobody. You in education can't even laud the babies in your classroom. You keeping the wrong dream. Yeah. OG told us about dream keepers a while ago. You got to understand that some dreams ain't worth keeping. Everybody want to be a dream keeper without recognizing that sometimes you keep a nightmare. The dreams given to our ancestors were given to them in the moments that they were in to keep for the next person. Y'all with me still? You were supposed to take that dream and then build on that and have a dream of your own. Y'all with me? And it goes on after that. But if you keep keeping an old dream, particularly if that dream is about your visibility. Talk the America First one, bro. I'll pull a slide back up.
Y'all good?
Yeah.
Are y'all really good? So when we were talking about this slide, I just brought up that we are Americans when it's convenient. And so mathematically, they couldn't win with just those who were in the image. Yeah. And so if you think about it from a Photoshop standpoint, they're the ones that's in focus, and we're the ones that's on the outside. And so then for the moment that they brought us inside to do what they wanted us to do, and then we fell for the trappings because they'll allow some of us to stay, but send the majority of us on our way. And then we go on our way and then we continue to pray, but then we will pray astray because we're not understanding that in this new dynamic, we are prey. We're in the city of Meat Mill, and my brother's talking about dreams and nightmares, but then we are making our nightmares our dreams, and then we take drugs so that we could be awake sleep. And then we attack those who come to teach. So this notion of Americans First that we were building is that part of the reason why that they were successful is because they knew their position. And then when you spoke to the one that they chose, they were just as offended as if you spoke about them. But then people will speak ill of my brother because they believe that they are supposed to walk in his shoes. So for me, serving you, brother, it's not even something that I chose. God assigned me to you. And so the problem becomes if I start to serve you and take my eyes off of him. Because me serving you is not worshiping you. I'm worshiping the God who equipped me to serve. But the fact that the glory of me that literally for 3 days. It's not this. And so you know when I'm not physically with you, I'm with you. And so you are right. The resistance that you feel is part of that escape velocity. And the resistance that you feel is confirmation that you are doing God's work. Because you resist it. Regardless of the thing that you try to, righteousness will always be resisted. Because sin and lawlessness is comfortable. It's that. Let that sweat fall from your brow. And we come together, and I told you, when people come together, it's not that they're asking you back because it's not finished. We're about to go into this week, and families are going to get together and have meals. And they will remember the meal the way that someone cooked it. I don't just want this particular cornbread. I want my mama's cornbread. So I don't want to just hear a talk. I want to hear Chris talk. I don't want just a New York Times bestseller. And I don't want just somebody who can bust the line and bust the rhyme. I want you.
Yes, sir.
So do what you need to do.
Yeah. Y'all, I want y'all to understand what this is. Y'all understand this? I wrote a script. I did a talk. But when the divine says it's a bigger lesson to be taught, you gotta follow. Hey, this is y'all. I want y'all to understand this. This is teaching. This is education. The point of this is to understand that there are no confines set before us by those who do not want good for us that we can follow. When you teach at escape velocity. You teach on the pace that the divine offers you. I don't care when the bell rings and when it don't. I don't care when the timeline is and when it. This is God's work. Yes, sir. Escape velocity is a scientific concept that says the speed at which an object moves so quickly that it defies the laws of gravity. Think about the world that we're in. Think about the fact that as you stay in your seat, you're being pushed down by an invisible force you don't know called gravity. 9.8 meters per second is now upon you. For you to even stand up, you've got to defy the laws of gravity. I'm not saying it's not there. I'm saying it's always there, and we are bound by it. We don't say that this damn gravity pushing me down again. We just ascribe ourselves to the understanding that gravity exists. But sometimes you gotta stop and say, wait, if gravity is existing, then there must be a capacity for me to exist outside of the forces of gravity. If the lesson plan exists, if the standards exist, if the rubric exists, if the curriculum exists, it is just there as a norm, but it's an invisible norm that exists. But if you don't identify it there, you're always bound by the laws of gravity. But we don't want gravity no more. We want to escape velocity, the speed at which an object recognizes that it has a capacity to defy the gravity. And all of a sudden, a rocket ship starts going at a speed. Newtonian physics cannot understand it. How did y'all work this thing to go so damn fast? And then at least from the source of the energy and goes forth. And at one point, it goes so fast, it defies the laws of gravity. It starts being connected to the earth, but no longer in the earth. So if America First is happening on the surface of the earth, I am in a physical place where I understand America First. Project 2025 is talking all this craziness. I come from the place where Project 2025 exists, but I am now operating at escape velocity where I am in it, but not. That's all. But something has to be ignited to forgive me to see that you exist outside of the laws of gravity. Everything that we talked about so far is simply the energy that you needed. But if you don't have the capacity to take that energy and translate that into a force beyond the gravity, you're bound by when an object that has escape velocity, there's nothing anybody on the earth can move. It knows its source, but it exists outside of its source. That is the essence of Black education.
Yeah.
All conferences, our OGs did this, our ancestors did this. All they're saying to you is that we understood the conditions of our time, but we were not bound by it. Yeah, they manifested their dreams. So I close with this. What's your dream? Yeah. What's your dream? What do you see in the eyes of these babies that they don't see yet? What do you surround them with before they go to bed at night? They don't have the nightmares of the oppressor, giving them a vision of a dream that's not a real one. And most importantly, we're giving you. What are you giving you? What do you consume? What do you forsake? What are you not listening to? Somebody told me, I don't care if you give it a keynote, Tim got to talk. Are y'all like listening to me? That defies the logic of this moment, don't it? But you've got to be able to, you have to let go of the gravity to fly. Let me say that again. You've got to let go of the gravity in your world if you want to fly. And all our babies want from us is a model of how to fly. It ain't science, it ain't math, it ain't English, it ain't humanities. All that comes when you live outside of it. So as we leave, if you want to fly, in the words of one of our OGs, please let go of all the shit that waging you out. Ashe. See you next year.